a lot of Black women don't have the same amount of connections, and they've done research on this where they found that, you know, we're just, when you look at, if you're on LinkedIn, for example, when you look at the connections, your connections list, if you are a Black woman, you find that a lot of the people that you're connected with look like you. And the fact of the matter is there are not a substantial amount of Black women that are in positions to give jobs and to give opportunities. And so this network gap also contributes to the issues, because we're just not in the spaces that where we know people that can provide opportunities and provide funding. So the network gap, and this is not the fault of Black women, this is just how the system is, but it is a very real issue that impacts Black women business owners. Hey y'all, Janice on the mic. Back with another video. I wrote this article about what is happening with Black women businesses, and I had a chance to interview Nicole Kane, who, if y'all remember, she is the person who created the site Nicole Bitchy, where she was the Shade Room before the Shade Room was a thing, but she had Nicole Bitchy, and she parlayed that into XO Nicole, which is like a women's wellness and women's platform for like women's news and updates. And now she has a company for women that experience fibroids, or people that experience fibroids, PCOS, and heavy periods. And she has different products for people who experience that. And I had a chance to interview her about what is happening to Black women-owned businesses. A lot of product-based Black women-owned businesses, especially those in the beauty space, those in the fashion space, are seeing a lot of closures. We see what happened with Hanifa. Hanifa was one of my favorite clothing brands. Anytime I needed a really cute outfit for like my birthday, I would always go to Hanifa's site. Hanifa actually was like, I think, the first person to do a virtual reality fashion show. So what's been happening with Hanifa, with Slutty Vegan, with Uncle Nearest, with Ami Collet, with so many product-based Black women-owned businesses. And I want to talk about what's happening, and I want to talk about it from the perspective of somebody who keeps their finger on the pulse, who tries to keep up with what's happening, and also somebody who is a Black woman-owned business owner. But I have a service-based business. I don't have a product-based business. I've never had a product-based business unless you count books as a product-based business. I sell some of my books through my website, but I don't know the ins and outs of selling products, right? The first thing that Nicole talked about in this interview, and I'm gonna link it below if you want to read more. We unpacked what has been happening, and one of the major things she and so many other Black women have been talking about is this funding gap. Black women are much less likely to get our businesses funded. We are much less likely to receive VC funding. And actually, the creator of a purse company that I love, a fashion company, but she has different purses, Amina Iris, is the creator of that company. I started following her recently on social media, and she has this video series where she's trying to get Jeff Bezos's ex-wife to donate $1 billion to 1,000 Black woman business owners. And one of the things that she said was that it's almost like dating. And if you are in a dating pool, funding is like trying to, date. And if you're in a pool where they don't like Black women, which is like the funders pool, VCs are like a pool of people that don't like Black women. It doesn't matter what you do, how you contort yourself, because the people in that pool do not want to date you. And I think that's such a spot on analogy that she used. So a large part of the reason why Black women-owned businesses are in the situations that they're in, product-based businesses, I'll say, is because of this huge funding gap. So many of us had to bootstrap our businesses. I had to bootstrap my business, and of course I don't sell products, so it was easier. All I really needed was a computer. The work that I do is I do like management consulting. So I partner with organizations and institutions, and I help provide trainings. I talk with leaders and provide guidance and consultations. And the majority of the work that I do is virtual. I don't need any equipment per se. I have an office, right? But I don't need I don't have a lot of overhead like somebody who is selling products would. And so if you're selling products, a lot of these business owners had to bootstrap their own businesses, had to fundraise within their communities and use their savings, their 401k and the money that they had to start their businesses. But a lot of non-Black women founders have the privilege of having money from family members or inheriting money, the equity that's in a person's home, right? A lot of Black women don't have access to a lot of these funding sources. And so funding is a huge, huge part of the problem. There is also something called a network gap, and I've written about this in my articles before, but Black women, when it comes to looking for jobs and opportunities, we are less likely to be in community with people who are in positions to give jobs. This is part of the reason why I've been hosting for the last few months, a free event called Reclaim the Network. I'll leave all the information in the comment section, but I host these monthly free events to help Black women job seekers find community, because we are in an era where so many people have lost jobs. 92,000 people lost their jobs in February of 2026. A lot of Black women don't have the same amount of connections, and they've done research on this where they found that, when you look at, if you're on LinkedIn, for example, when you look at the connections, your connections list, if you are a Black woman, you find that a lot of the people that you're connected with look like you. And the fact of the matter is there are not a substantial amount of Black women that are in positions to give jobs and to give opportunities. And so this network gap also contributes to the issues, because we're just not in the spaces where we know people that can provide opportunities and provide funding. So the network gap, and this is not the fault of Black women, this is just how the system is. But it is a very real issue that impacts Black women business owners. And the third thing I would say, and Nicole Kane talked about this in the interview that we did together, but I think it's also the lack of grace that a lot of people show Black women business owners. When Hanifa was going through issues last year, I guess there was a Black Friday sale and people went on TikTok and they were complaining because their items were delayed or they didn't get their items on time. That's just not something that would be my first reaction if I am supporting or buying from a Black owned business and I'm unhappy with the experience. I am a Black owned business supporter and connoisseur, and I have had a ton of bad experiences with Black owned businesses. There was this one company that I'm not going to name that I was buying my hair extensions from for like 10 years, over 10 years, right? And I even had a situation where I ordered these hair extensions, and the company's based in New York, and the owner came with her brother and switched out the hair extensions. And I thought that was superior customer service. But that was a situation where my first instinct wasn't to go on Instagram or go on TikTok or, go online and complain about what I was experiencing. And so I do think that the public doesn't give enough grace to Black women-owned businesses, and that is a huge part of the problem. And I do think that that's a systemic issue. But on the other end, I also think there is an issue where Black customers don't always receive the amount of respect and dignity that they deserve. But I think in a lot of cases, like with Hanifa and with a lot of these companies, it's just that the business owners, because they're Black women, we're not given the same amount of grace. People expect super fast service when we don't have an Amazon budget, right? We don't have Amazon profits, but you expect Amazon delivery times. And so I do think that those three factors are really important factors in why what's happening to Black women is happening to Black women business owners right now. I'm a person that's all about like solutions. So in addition to talking about the problem, I always want to brainstorm and talk about what can we do? What does resolution and what do solutions look like? And so the first thing I would definitely say is I think what is going to help us get through this moment, besides obviously we need Black women-owned businesses need more funding, but I think supporting each other. I think there's so much that Black women go through and Black women business owners go through. And I think it's important to remind ourselves of the power and strength in community. honestly, we got. And, you know, when we see that a business that we love is going under or is not doing well, we rally together and we come together. I've seen a lot of Black women that I'm not connected with on YouTube that have been making videos about what's happening to Black women business owners. And I do appreciate that. Black women, nobody gonna support you like a Black woman. And so although we are in really dire circumstances, I do think that there's so much strength in community. And what will get Black women business owners through this moment is just leaning on community. And so remembering to support the businesses that we love, especially the Black women-owned businesses, because there are a lot of disparities and discrepancies and inequities that Black women business owners experience, and they suffer in silence. A lot of them aren't shouting from the rooftops or on social media, this is what I'm going through, but it's something being felt across the board by so many Black women business owners. Lastly, I would say that we have to remember that capitalism and Black capitalism is not going to save us. And I'm not saying that it ever will, but the fact of the matter is many of us rely on our businesses to sustain ourselves and to make money for us and our families. And we deserve support as much as the next person. And so I don't think capitalism, Black capitalism, will ever be the panacea or the antidote to our issues. So I did want to also close by saying that I still think Black women businesses deserve our support, and we have to be really intentional about supporting the businesses that we love if we don't want to see what's happening continue to happen. So this was just a super quick video. If you want to read more, I've left the interview I did and resources in the description box below. But I will see y'all in the next video. Thank you so much for watching.